and welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton. And today we are going to talk about a summer youth employment program, Jobs for Our Young People. Our guest is Synethia White. Welcome.
Good morning.
This is such a great program, and it's growing, it's expanding. Tell us, first of all, young people. That's my term. What ages do you serve?
The primary audience, or the only audience for the program, is young people who are between the ages of 16 and 24 by June 1st of every year. The students have to be citizens of Hampton or attend school in Hampton, not necessarily Hampton City Schools, because we do have other private schools in our city.
Okay, and what is the goal of the program? Why are our taxpayers helping to fund this program?
Well, research and data shows that early employment skills increases the opportunity for future employability for young people, which increases their options and their opportunities. So young people who we are able to support now and give them the soft skills that they need to be successful later, our desire is to give them that little boost now so that they will be successful in the larger job market.
I'm going to add my little personal story here because I did a program similar to this when I was in high school, and maybe even my first year or two in college in the summers. It was at that time funded by the federal government, not the city, but it was discontinued. But it gave a bunch of us in my high school, and it was a poor rural county. There weren't jobs. I mean, even if you were prepared, you couldn't get jobs. And it gave a bunch of us a chance to save up for college, to have money for, participation in football, for clothes, for helping with our families, whatever it was. It was my contribution toward my college education. And then it really is so much easier to get the next job because you've got that track record. People look at it and go, oh, look, successfully completed, came back. The employers know that you're solid, and it puts you a little step ahead of the competition.
Yeah, we would hope so. After you can show that you've worked for the summer as a young person, you've sacrificed what most young people would like to use as their time to just lounge, and you've learned a variety of skills. We do our best to place young people in positions that are of interest to them, but that doesn't always happen. So the other thing we say comes out of this program is often you learn what you don't want to do. So over a 10-week period, you will have learned the importance of communication in the workplace, coming to work on time, being a team player, and being honest.
That's really important. And you also learn how to save. Hopefully, a lot of people at that age don't have savings accounts, or and you learn how to save. You learn how to budget. There's a lot you learn, and it's important. It's foundational, and it isn't always fun.
Right.
You work for a living. I work for a living. There are things you do even now when it's a career and when it's in your field that isn't exactly what you want to do maybe that day. But it's important.
Right. And so we bring in partners in training, in a training week, which is the first week of the program. And we typically have a partnership with a financial institution. It'll change over the year so that we are able to rotate in different perspectives and different entities. But they discuss credit because some of the young people are 18. They discuss the importance of saving and budgeting. And we think that real life experience is helpful. In years past, we've also partnered with the Cooperative Extension, and they come in and do the reality store. And so the young people are able to, by chance, draw a career, a salary, and kind of like the real life walking game of life. And what they have is what they have. They pay taxes, they buy groceries. If they have children in their packet, they pay childcare. And so being able to do activities like that before they get their first check helps them see the importance of determining what you want to do based on the type of lifestyle you want to lead.
One of the factors when I watched my kids grow up through high school and get jobs is that the kids who have transportation, whose parents can afford to let them use a car, get jobs faster than kids for whom that's a hurdle. What do you do in this program to make sure kids can get to and from a work site?
Well, one of the things that we ask in the application process is if they have a preference to the portion of the city or the area in the city they would like to work. We ask them what they would like to do. And we do our best to place them somewhere where transportation is not a barrier. If there are young people who want to work outside of what is easiest for them, then we do offer them, if they're 18, if they're 18 or older, we'll pay for their bus passes. But if not, we give the parents the information so that they can apply for the HRT Freedom Pass.
And so that means they have access to ride the bus and at no cost to them.
Right.
And far as applying for this, when you interview the students, you also remove that transportation barrier for kids who are in Hampton City schools at least.
We do. We will actually go to the high schools or the local campuses where we have young people to interview, and we coordinate with Hampton City Schools. Carla Wan, their director of counseling, will connect us with the guidance counselors at each school, and we'll go there for kind of like a shift, typically between the hours of 9 and 2, because we have some students who don't have first block. We have other students who leave early because they could be in a magnet program, or they get off early to go for other reasons, or they already have their credits. And so by going in the school and cycling them through there, it removes the burden for the parents and for the young people. And it also, I think, gives them an increased level of comfort, because I think that is a daunting experience.
It's scary, yeah.
Or can be. And so we just want to help the young people as much as possible on the front end and be proactive in supporting their success.
So what are some of the jobs or job sites, like what is the range? And I know it's a very wide range, you can't mention everything, but some of the different kinds of things that young people do in the summer.
In years past, we've had young people who have worked at Buckrow Beach and Park, Sandy Bottom, Gosnell Hope Park, all of the community centers in Hampton, and the neighborhood centers. And so they have worked to support summer camp operations, and then open gym and other activities that take place at those community centers. On the private side, in previous years, we've had local businesses like Mango, the Grey Goose, Barrel Art, Patrick's Hardware have all supported young people. Last year, the Marching Elites was a host site for their summer program, and they take their young people on trips, so the young people from our program were also able to participate in those activities. And so we just try to get a wide variety. We also understand that in some of the places that they're going to go, they may not be direct support staff. They may be supporting clerical administration, answering the phone, and providing additional support. All of it is important. Mm-hmm. We ask our young people to be flexible, and we ask our host sites to give them a meaningful experience.
So how many students or young people were employed in the program last year?
Last year we had 80 students, actually 82 students participate. We had 79 complete, and so an average of about 99% completion rate.
That's really good.
We think so.
That's a lot. I think for a first time, and a lot of these people, it is their first time job. Right. That's a very high completion rate. You must do a lot of support to make that success.
Well, I think that part of our success can be found in the fact that we do some work on the front end, matching, trying to help the young people communicate their needs clearly or their availability if that is a factor. But also for host sites, we ask them what their needs are very specifically. So we would not match a young person, even if they're interested, if their availability stops at 7 o'clock in this business. It's a restaurant and they need someone around until 9 o'clock. So we take that time to carefully review those applications and those needs to make sure that we are making a good fit.
So how many hours a week do they work?
Students work 20 hours a week over the course of 10 weeks.
And what do they need to do to apply? Because I think we've gotten some folks interested right now, or at least their parents interested. They might need to convince.
Well, that's sometimes how it happens. They would visit our hire website, hampton.gov/hire, and select the opportunities open to everyone. And it's the the Summer Youth Employment Program Hire is the name of the position. But if they have any questions, they're welcome to go to the website or our webpage, hampton.gov/youth opportunities, and contact myself or any one of our team members, and we will support them through the process. It is not very daunting. Our HR team has done very well, is really good at making it an easy process for the young people.
Yeah, I think once you find the application, because it is combined in with all the other jobs that are open in the city right now. And so really getting there is the tricky part. And after that, it's pretty easy.
Yep, but that is a good tool to have, because after this, they're going to apply for other positions, and just about every organization uses an online format. And so they will have to have a viable email address. We ask the young people to use one that they can use forever. And so being careful of that first impression.
Right.
If you don't have a professional email, now's the time to develop one.
Yes.
You know, first name, last name, or initials are always helpful. And that's a free, that doesn't cost them anything, because they will have to create an account to apply for the job. But after that, they will have an account for the hire system that they can keep.
And it is, filling out applications like that are tricky if your internet device is your phone. But the city has computers at all the libraries, at some of the community centers. There's hours at Y.H. Thomas, at the Work One Center, where they can help with things like that. We can get people, access to a computer if they need that.
And as well as human resources.
Right. Oh, and the human resources and most of the schools.
Yeah, and I think the schools are very supportive in making sure the young person, if they're interested in this program, the professional counselors there for the young people that they're supporting, well, all of the young people, but those who express interest in making a way so that they can apply without any additional, confusion or headache.
Right.
They want them to have a good summer as well.
So what's the payoff? How much, we're all bottom line people. I don't think most of us would work for free. What is the dollar amount that students walk away from at the end of the summer if they were to bank everything?
Well, if they were to bank everything, they could make over $1,000. And the reason I don't give an exact amount is because you're still going to have to pay Social Security, and we don't make any recommendations.
Right.
We don't make any recommendations to how they complete their W-4 either, and so those things.
So some may have taxes taken out.
Some may choose to do those things, but they can make enough money. I would say for those who it's their first job and they're maybe 16 and they're returning to school, I think it's a good amount of money to be able to buy some things that they may want for the school year. And for others, it's a good way to start a nice savings for a young person.
Yeah, absolutely. What else do you want to add that I've forgotten about?
That's one, if they have questions to ask, to reach out. Don't let the application process or not being able to find something as easy as you would expect stop you from applying. To not be scared about the interview process. We make sure that everyone who helps us with interviews are comfortable with young people, and will create an environment that allows them to have a good interview, and that the training that they get in our training week is based off of feedback that we have received from folks like Pam Kroom, who work with who are with workforce development through economic development. And we really do focus on the soft skills. So the employees who are thinking about, or private businesses who are thinking about hosting a young person, we are very intentional to stress and support our young people to make good decisions that can negatively impact their business. So we need you to come to work on time.
I was going to say, what are soft skills? I hear people talk about that all the time, but I'm not sure that our young people understand it.
So outside of the technical skills you would need for a position, soft skills are the things that make the difference. So as I was saying before, making sure you show up for work on time, knowing how to request time off if necessary, communicating for clarity if you've been assigned a task or asked a question and you want to be able to answer it or do the task well, understanding that you may come to work and say, I need you to wipe the counters. Okay. Well, after I wipe the counter, that's not the only thing you hired me to do, is wipe the counters. To be able to communicate, to say, what do I need to do in my shift to be a good employee at this site or a good member of this team?
Okay, to dress appropriately, to answer questions or answer the phone in the way you want me to, those kinds of things. Okay, got it. You mentioned business host sites, and that is something I forgot to ask you about. You accommodated about 80 people last summer. Could we do more if more businesses volunteered to host them? and got free employees for that amount of time.
We could do more. We could host more businesses every year, absolutely. That allows us to reduce the number of young people we place at a site. We do stress that it is a wonderful partnership. You know, as you mentioned, we do pay for them to work. We do ask for meaningful support from the host sites, meaning that there's going to be a supervisor who's going to take some time to invest in that young person. And we also ask the businesses to be very clear on what their expectation is and what they're looking for. Every business that applies is not accepted because if it's something that's outside of what we're able to do regarding training or age level for OSHA, you know, if there's a position where the young person has to be 22, if we don't have a young person that meets that age requirement, we can't, you know, enter into partnership. But we're very careful and very considerate in our timing and our planning to think of our potential host sites. We also know that there's sometimes a burden of uniforms and other materials to do a job, and we will cover the expense for those things. So if there's an employer who says, you know, I really would like to host, but for the initial uniform, it's a $125 investment or some type of investment, and I make that only in folks who are going to be here year round. We would challenge them to say, let us help make that investment because there's a potential if this young person who we're placing in the program does well over the summer months. We have paid for the materials. You have received, you know, over $1,000 in in-kind support over the summer, and it may be someone that you would be interested in keeping based on their availability if it works with the needs of your business.
And that, you know, is the ultimate long-term goal, is that some of these folks might continue, if they're still in school, maybe it's a part-time job after school, maybe it's something similar, maybe they come back, maybe they go get an education and come back. I mean, it's flexible, but it's this long-term goal of stability, employment, growth, education that helps the whole community, not just the one individual employer and not just the one individual young person.
Correct. Future employability.
Yep. That's what comes back to the taxpayer and why the whole program is funded. It is community stability, growth, and a huge investment.
It is.
And it pays off.
It does. We are excited for what the summer will bring. We are also intentionally working with the school system to, when we work with young people from the school system, that if they've chosen their career path or their academy, that we're going to work to line those students up with positions that support their work in the school year. So those young people will be coming in with, you know, a year or two of experience and conversation and excitement around the career that they want to enter, and for us to be able to place them with an employer who lines up with that. You know, next year, hopefully, we will be able to quantify that training.
Right, because they'll be further along in that process.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Is there anything else you want to add, Synethia?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. I hope if you are a young person or know a young person who has not really gotten into the workforce yet, this is a great opportunity to pick up those soft skills, to get that first job, to be ready to take that step, to earn some money for your future expenses, and to begin learning how to work and get into that field so that you can go off independently and do it yourself the next time. Don't miss the deadline. We'll put those up on the screen. Do it now, apply, and see what happens. Thanks for watching.